Well, here we are at Kildare Beach, and you've just clicked in. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the channel. Today we're just following the flight path of an ill-fated World War II Spitfire that crashed in the hills up there behind us on the 30th of November 1941. Spitfire P8074, I believe it's what it was, and the pilot was an American, a young American, the name of Ronald Bud Wolfe. I think he was about 23. He had been out on what was said to be a routine convoy patrol over the North Atlantic, and when he was returning, and I would assume this is the way he would have come in off the North Atlantic, I'll be glad to see the shore, and they would have been crossing there over those hills to Loch Foyle, following Loch Foyle up on the Derry to his base at Eglinton Airport. It was then called RAF Eglinton. It's now City of Derry Airport, just on the outskirts of Derry City. Now you're on the Wild Atlantic Way here, as the surroundings would suggest. Now if you were doing your Wild Atlantic Way trip, you would have come through Mayville, and you'd have seen that in some of my earlier films or videos. You'd have come through Mayville, Greencastle, and you would have been up over the viewing point, McGilligan viewing point, and you could follow the road on round to here then. So what we're going to do, we're actually going off the track, and we're going to follow Spitfire P8074. Its last few miles up onto those hills to see where it crashed. I suppose I should point out P.O. Bud Wolfe survived to tell the tale. So stay tuned. Off we go. So I just wondered what stage did the Spitfire start to get into difficulty. It had a Rolls Royce Merlin engine, and we're all familiar from, if you haven't seen a Spitfire live anywhere, but we've all seen them on TV and we're familiar with the sound of them, and from dramatic war films, the putt-putt of a plane getting into difficulty. So I wonder, was he putt-putting along here? And I actually think from an eyewitness testimony it may well have been, because it crashed on I think it was a Sunday morning. It was the 30th of November 1941. I don't think the weather was great. It was overcast. But there was a guy who told the tale at the recovery dig in 2011. He was a 5-year-old boy, and he heard the plane coming over, and I think he says he heard the putt stuff. But anyway, Bud Wolfe bailed out and was duly captured by the authorities here in Ireland and interned in the Curragh, as Ireland was neutral in World War II. But there was all sorts of secret arrangements between the British and the Allied forces. The Allied forces obviously being the Americans and the British. The one of them being air corridors that were opened up to light aircraft. You fly over Irish airspace out under places like the Atlantic, saving thousands of miles of circuitous journeys where they had to avoid Irish airspace. So it's the village of Kildaff. I suppose we should have come through it there just to let you see. There's places to stay here. It's very popular holiday resort. I suppose the beach would tell you why. There's a wee hotel behind us that has good entertainment and all the rest. There's loads of holiday homes. So if you are touring Ireland, there's no better place to stay in and around this area. There'll be plenty of B&Bs and all the usual things like guest houses, hotels. To choose from. And you're not far away from sort of larger towns like Donegal, or even you're only down the road also from Derry City if you actually wanted to stay in a bigger metropolis. But you're all on the wild Atlantic Way. And these are all the wee gems that are dotted all around the coast. So getting back to the story. The discovery of the crash site and the recovery of the wreckage was featured on BBC Big Dig programme, where they had asked an aviation historian from the North Ireland, Johnny McNee, to find them a site that they could excavate. I think there were at least 3 Spitfire crashes in Donegal during World War II. Johnny was familiar with this story here, though he'd heard rumours of it. So he came and he was searching all around and he showed him, and it was not really like searching for a needle in a haystack. Nobody knew or heard anything, and he wasn't making any headway at all. And but his young daughter was in the car with him apparently on the day he was doing that wee trip. Probably a wee bit dejected, he was on his way home, and they'd been coming on this road here and towards the Glenealy. Children being children, the wee girl, not a slow joint in her body, said, "Daddy, if I had a packet of chocolate buttons, it would help me to help you to find the Spitfire or the plane." Words to that effect. Generally, as any daddy would, Johnny pulled in at the filling station up there. Go in and get the wee girl the chocolate buttons. They thought nothing to lose, and they asked the lady in the shop, I believe, had she heard any talk of it. And within a short period of time, other locals coming into the shop, just one coincidence after another, involving about 4 different people. They identified the site, with one person actually leading Johnny up the hill and pointing it out. So there you go. If you're ever looking for a crashed Spitfire, you just have a packet of chocolate buttons. So the boiled pilot, Bud Wolfe, as I said, was taken prisoner as Ireland was neutral in World War II, and he was transported to Curragh internment camp, where both German and British and whoever that found their way on the Irish territory were interned under very relaxed conditions. They were out in the pub every night, they were out playing football, helping locals in the fields, and there was a football match between the Germans and the English organised at one stage, and you don't have to guess who won that. It was the Germans, of course. But anyway, Johnny decided, or Bud, he decided that was enough for him. Not the football match, just the incarceration. And he went up to Dublin and got the train to Belfast. But was sent back by the British, because they were obviously not wanting to rock any boats with Ireland, because I suppose it probably had to do with all of the wee secret back channel arrangements that were going on. And so for public appearances they certainly didn't want to be rocking any boats that would put any of those in jeopardy, like the corridor, the flight corridor. Transpired later there was also, the British had got permission to set up some secret radar sites around the Irish coast also. Stuff like that very few obviously at the time would have known about. But as the war continued anyway, and there's many stories and evidence of British or American personnel being arrested or captured in Ireland and then just been sent back to their units. And that's what happened to Bud in 1943. He was shipped back. He joined the US Army Air Force, where it originally come over and joined the RAF prior to America being in the war, as some Americans and Canadians did. Not sure when Canada came into the war, but anyway. So whether it was for adventure or a sense of dare and do, or whether it was to fight Nazism, who knows, that inspired people like him to join the fight before his country was involved in it. But I'm sure by this stage the Spitfire was putt-putting overhead. Bud at some stage worked it out that the Spitfire was going down. He wasn't going to make it the last 12 miles or so to his base. And he bailed out. His parachute landed at about a mile from the crash site, which is just up here, which is just up there, to our left now. This is known locally as Glen Shinny Mountain or Crocaninian. Hope I got the Irish pronunciation of that right. So it was in this vicinity the ill-fated Spitfire came down with a thump. That was heard by locals. And it buried itself about 900 metres that way, 20 to 30 feet in the bog. At least that's the depth it was at when the wreckage was recovered in 2011. And while it was obviously mangled, it was remarkably in good condition, preserved by the peat bog. Browning Macine Guns and ammunition were recovered, and they were able to fire after a clean-up. And at least one of them's in display now in the museum in Derry. So this is the plaque commemorating the event. 30th November 1941, the Spitfire on a routine Atlantic Convoy patrol from RAF Eglinton crashed into bogland on the side of a mountain known locally as Glen Shinny, the townland of Monidara, some 900 metres east of this spot. It's American pilot Ronald Bud Wolfe from 133 Eagle Squadron RAF parachuted to safety. The dig organised by aviation historian Johnny McNee was filmed for BBC documentary Dig World War II and presented by Dan Snow on the 70th anniversary of the crash in November 2011. Bud Wolfe's two daughters and other members of the extended Wolfe family visited the crash site to commemorate their father's wartime career. The boiled Bud came out of retirement after World War II, back into the American Air Force, took part in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. So there you go. So that's where we started. We were there at Kildare. We'd imagine that Spitfire come in from the North Atlantic here somewhere. Come on over, likely Kildare. If he was further over, he would have went on up Loch Foyle. So he was coming in from this direction here. So did he come in over that way, or did he come in over Kildare? But anyway, we were near enough, we're in the vicinity. This is where he come down. I suppose if he was out here, the more direct route would have been taking him that way. So that's why I think he's come down on this way. Because he was going to here, this bit off the map, up here. Which is out that direction. So there you have it. So this is all part of the Wild Atlantic Way route, and you'll have seen this going through Mayville in earlier videos. Mayville, going down on the Inishowen Head, it's Roof, and we went up there to McGilligan viewpoint here, looking across at McGilligan. The Wild Atlantic Way route takes you on around here to Kildaff Beach where we were, further round to Malin Head, back round Ballyliffin, Clonmany, Dunaff, Erris, and we went over the gap of Mamore. Also, you'll see that in one of the earlier videos. And remember, we come down then on the Buncrana. So if you are doing the Wild Atlantic Way, that's why I'm showing you this. On your way down this road, turn at Redcastle and nip up here, and you can have a look at this. Amazing view. On a clear day, you can see right across, for goodness sake. It's spectacular. And then you just nip back down again and you're back on your Wild Atlantic Way route. Or continue on, nip up from Kildaff before going back down again, continuing on your route. Loads of places to stay around here. There's places to stay at Quigley's Point, Mayville, Greencastle. Loads of holiday cottages all on around there for rent. Over where we were at Kildaff, Malin Head, and then Ballyliffin, Clonmany, Buncrana. Derry City itself is up here. So you've no shortage, and right in the heart, I suppose, is Carndona. So you've no shortage of places to eat, to stay, to camp. And if you have the time, I would think yourself on around Inishowen somewhere and spend a day or two just nipping on around. Or if you're time bound, then this is just one of the wee things you want to see, and not take you too far off your, maybe what was your planned route. So thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. All the best.